Okay, so let's establish the rules straight away, because otherwise you will have seen the title of this video and be like, what are you talking about? This is based on your opinion. Now, I did this poll, this vote, whatever you want to call it, through social media. I did it by talking to people I know. What a crazy thing to do in 2024, and by other means. But essentially what I did do is, because obviously lots of people gave me different answers, so I had to sit down there and kind of work it out mathematically. Now look at me, I am stupid, so I've done my best. Which is why I created this little image here, and I didn't write down all the exact percentages and stuff like that. It's just a representation of what people did tell me, and I've just realized it's all going to be blurry, but it's going to reveal itself as we do go, because that's the fun of videos like this. And I've called it the best WWE superstar. I suppose it comes down to somebody's favorite, but you can argue that if somebody's favorite, they are the best. You know, that kind of does make sense. So I tallied up all the votes, and here's the current top 10 as of September 2024. And we start with Gunther, which surprised me greatly. Now, I think this probably comes from the fact that I did talk to a lot of pro wrestlers themselves, and it should come as no shock to you that if you are a real pro wrestler as opposed to a ghost, you are going to like Gunther's work. He's old school, he doesn't do too much, but that becomes a huge plus for him because he makes every little thing count, and he's totally different. If you do want to say you could plop him in every single era and he would work, I think that's fair. Most definitely in the 80s, most definitely in the 90s. Throughout the Ruthless Aggression era, I would argue that WWE was crying out for somebody like that. He's obviously doing it right now. You could put him in AEW and doing the same stuff. You could do the same with New Japan, right? Same with a special independent promotion like PWG. He would always have, wait for it, this aura about him because he totally knows what he's doing. Like, I saw him take on Will Ospreay at Defiant, which was the company after WCPW. Same kind of a deal. In fact, Ospreay was doing what he was doing now, and Gunther was doing what he was doing now, and everybody loved it. And at the time, nobody thought he was going to go to WWE because he'd made it very clear he wanted to stay in Austria, Germany, the European area. But yes, when I did tally up all the votes, he came in 10th place, which I was actually very, very excited about because I'm a nerd and I'm a very weird guy. So there you go. There's a reason WWE made him the World Heavyweight Champion. And on this information alone, down the line, could you turn him babyface? Sure. I think it would be harder than most because you cannot change it. You almost have to make sure that it happens organically. I hate that word, but it's true. But he's smack bang in number 10. Number 9, also another surprise. Boom, it's LA Knight. I thought LA Knight would be way higher up on this list, but I think he's kind of someone that gets forgotten about too much. And I do not mean that in a disparaging way. I just think other people jump to, I don't know, maybe people they're more familiar with. Not more familiar with, that's not right. It was a surprise. Just leave it there. But then again, when I write down my sort of favorite list of superstars right now, he would absolutely be in the top 10, but maybe it would be in the second half. I mean, there's people in here that should be in here for me, and they're not. There's no Kevin Owens, there's no Sami Zayn, for example, and they would get into mine. But it is, LA Knight's an interesting cat, right? Because he probably should have won a championship about a year ago. They didn't do it. WWE held off. We had the Saudi Arabia match with Roman Reigns, but he has remained consistently popular, a consistently massive merch seller, gets huge pops, and is an inspiration in many ways. I believe he's 41 years old, and he's in the peak of his career, which goes to show how we have moved on generationally. And I never understood the criticism, oh, he sounds like the Rock and Stone Cold. If you're going to ape anybody, as every single pro wrestler does, it kind of makes sense to pick the two most popular ever, arguably so. And I really enjoy his matches. I think he's just got better and better and better. That's the thing. He's really fallen into the role that he's in now, and I think he should hold the US Championship for a long old time. But, I mean, most of the people that did mention him is because they like his charisma and they like his promo skills and they like his matches too. I think we've moved away from that finally. There was this, what's the word? This idea for a while. He's not very good at wrestling. He's perfectly good at wrestling. What are you talking about? Not everything needs to be a 5-star, 25-minute match, whatever the hell that means. But yes, and I'm looking at the stuff down here. I mean, maybe I haven't done the bars totally representatively. LA Knight was quite a long way away from Gunther, but he still came in at 9. And this one pleased me greatly too, because in at 8 was Drew McIntyre once again. I think a huge portion of this was from the wrestlers that I spoke to and social media as well. People just love Drew, and this makes sense as well. Because again, I was speaking to British pro wrestlers, and everybody looks up to Drew McIntyre, as they should do, because that dude made it to WWE before, well, the system we have today, which is absolutely incredible. It's like the British Bulldog. The British Bulldog should be the king of British wrestlers. He got to the WWF, and William Regal. How the flub did they do it? Through pure skill alone, to be completely honest. But I also think the reason his name pops up is because he is having one of the feuds of the year, if not the feud of the year, with CM Punk, but also he has made social media his own space. He's funny, he's cutting. I mean, as I'm recording this video, the NXT show was last night, and Roxanne Perez got into it with CM Punk. Drew is on it instantly, being like, I'm so proud of you, Roxanne Perez. I'm not going to say you're like my daughter because that's weird, which is also a shot at CM Punk. The man is just living the dream right now. We talked about this on the video yesterday, I believe, when we were running down Raw. We need to make sure that when the CM Punk feud is done, because everything must come to an end, we have long-term plans for Drew. Get him in a program. Allow him to keep being this character. Absolutely have a proper world title run penciled in for him down the line. He truly has come of age in 2024, and it's no surprise. He's always been good. We've always known it, but now finally he's been able to speak with his own inner voice to the point he gets in at number 8 here, which again, I think is pretty impressive because no Kevin Owens, no Sami Zayn. There'll be other people I'm not thinking about right now that aren't on this list. I probably should have thought about this before I started running it down, but they absolutely could be in there, and I was certainly shocked. Randy Orton isn't here. I didn't think Randy Orton was in here. We'll get to him later on. But to me, Drew McIntyre should be in this position. And if we can treat it right, even if Punk does beat him at Bad Blood, 2025 can be an even better year. Very excited about Drew. And I've already screwed this up because actually Damian Priest was meant to be in that position. But you can see, look how close the bars are. And because I have crappy eyes, they were basically neck and neck. Or at least that's what, again, I tried to represent here. It doesn't matter. Just flip them around in your head. But how cool is this as well? Damian Priest got into this list. And I really do think it's because it's another one. It's a dude that had to go through a lot. He talked about this in his documentary. A lot of people remember him as Punishment Martinez in Ring of Honor. And I will tell you, I interviewed him at All In 2018. The first one, and this, more shame on me for thinking this. I didn't think he was going to be a WWE guy. I mean, it was an old regime, and I don't know. I was just wrong. Goes to show, what the hell do I know? Whereas now, not only is he a former world champion, one of the most popular guys on Raw, and basically gets booked like The Undertaker. He whips everybody's butt, and I think it's awesome. It entertains me, and it is super duper brilliant. And this is another guy. This almost follows the Drew McIntyre template we were just talking about. He lost the title, right? Gunther beat him, whatever. We move on to something else. But because we had this Judgment Day program waiting for him, and because we had the relationship with Rhea Ripley, the dude has remained, I would actually say, more popular than he was, okay? He is on a tear right now, and I look forward to seeing him. So I don't care if he's got a belt. I don't care if he doesn't have a belt. Him having that championship allowed to solidify him as a main event player. So now WWE has created another star to the point it is resonating with people out there. And I think a huge reason for it is he's just a dude. Go watch him in his documentary. Go listen to him in interviews, especially one that Chris Van Vliet did recently. He's just a guy living his dream. He gets it. He's happy. He talks like a normal person, and he's somebody you want to sit down with and have a conversation. So I'm a huge fan of Damian Priest, and more like this. I mean, he's another LA Knight in many ways. You know, he's like 41. Doesn't matter. Who cares? Age is but a number. Thankfully, we're finally realizing that in 2024. And the guy can go. And he's got a unique edge to him because he is so big, but he can throw himself around the ring. So, yes, he was meant to be before Drew McIntyre, but I'm putting it here anyway. It's my stupid video, and if I want to ignore all the questioning I did, that's what I'm going to do. Jey Uso is following up after this, and I will admit it was quite a big jump all of a sudden. It was a huge jump, and the interesting part is, again, I'm not going to name names here, unless you want me to. You know if you did the survey or not. A lot of young people told me this, sort of a lot of people in their early 20s, some people in their sort of late teens that are wrestling fans. They're all huge fans of Jey Uso, which I kind of get because he's another guy who's just so damn cool. I mean, he goes out there wearing Yeet sunglasses. If I came on here right now wearing Yeet sunglasses and Jey Uso didn't exist, I'd be called a goof, I'd be called a nerd, I'd be called a geek, and I'd be totally fine with that because I am all those things. But because Jey Aura has this, whatever it would be, I don't want to use the word aura again, but it would be there. He just pulls it off. And obviously, he just cut that serious promo on Brian Breaker a few days ago, which I think gave him an extra edge. He has been doing this for 14 years. And I think sometimes when you see somebody evolve as much as a Jey Uso from a tag team guy to a singles guy, and everything he did on the Bloodline, which was top tier performances, and proved he had that side to him as well, well, you know that people love him. We just repeat everything we said for LA Knight. Gets massive pops, even when he hasn't been on television for a while and he's not in a story. Sells crazy merchandise. Sometimes he's number one when it comes to Pacific T-shirts. And everybody just wants him to do better. Like, he's about to have this Bron Breakker match. You may have already seen it by the time you watch this video. And Bron Breakker shouldn't be losing the Intercontinental Championship right now. But if Jey Uso was the one to beat him, I think we'd all be fine with it. I know that I would, because I just want good things for that guy, and that is the power of the babyface. It's not just sympathy, but it's empathy, and it's that will for somebody to do well. You watch them, and you're actually literally willing it. Come on, let's get this done. So, yeah, I'm a huge fan of Jey Uso. I probably would assume that he'll be out of the Intercontinental title picture because he will lose, but then he can go back with Roman Reigns, and we do the Bloodline versus Bloodline stuff, reunite with Jimmy, which is also going to be good. And maybe even at WrestleMania, we talked about this in the video on Sunday, we do, Usos versus the Bloodline, or Tama Tonga and Tangaloa, and that'll be great too, because that's family, and that'll probably be the end of the Bloodline as well. But we should always, find a way to keep Jey Uso in a singles vibe, even if he does team up with his brother. You can make it like the New Day. You're always there as a unit, but you go off and do your separate things. So really cool to see how far he's come, because even at 2020, when we started planting these seeds on the Hell in the Cell against Roman Reigns, I don't think anybody thought he would turn into what he's turned into today. I think he's absolutely fabulous. I really, really do. He's such a great guy. I don't even know him. He could be a massive dickhead for all I know, but I hugely doubt it. But I do know I get those good vibes when they come out of my television, so I totally understand why he's there. And again, a lot of people I talked to in person that voted for Jey Uso, it was like that. They didn't think about it. Just, who's your favorite wrestler right now? Jey Uso. And then they would go, oh, this guy and that guy. But, it's like a quiz, man. That was the first name that I heard. There's no backsies. And just a super quick reminder, my friends, to go to GorillaMind.com/Simon and use the code Simon to get 10% off. There is a link in the description below. But also, if you keep an eye on the website, they are often doing 30% off, especially when it comes to their pre-workout, Gorilla Mode. There's a brand new version of this now. It is genuinely the best pre-workout I've ever had in my entire life, which is why I got on board with Gorilla Mind, because I was shouting about it so much. They sent me a message that said, Simon, you may as well be part of the team. It really is the best line of gym supplements I've ever used, and I've been training for over 20 years now, which is quite sad. And they even do stuff like multivitamins now, and it also ships worldwide. So again, it's always 10% off using my code Simon, and if you do keep an eye on GorillaMind.com, you never know, my friends, you may be getting up to 30% off, and they got an array of stuff as well. So check them out today. Supports me, supports the channel. I appreciate you, and I appreciate it. Now back to the video. When things get really interesting, because in at number 5, I believe, maybe number 4, is Randy Orton. Now, Randy Orton is the biggest legacy star full-time left in WWE. Seth Rollins is probably just behind him. Now, Seth Rollins didn't make this list, and the reason I don't think Seth Rollins was there was just because he hasn't been on TV for a while, and unfortunately is out of sight, out of mind. I think Seth Rollins, if I did it again, which I may do in early next year, I think Seth Rollins would get on this, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles. Again, we're talking about September 2024. Now, like John Cena would be a legacy person, and Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, but they're part-time, man, which is nothing wrong, not got a problem with that at all. Whereas Randy Orton is making the towns, he's there week in, week out, and people just love him. I remember there was a time when fans were like, there's no way you can have Randy Orton as a babyface. And when he is a babyface, he's a way better heel. What are we doing? We must find a way to make him a villain again. And Randy was like, they're right, I need to do that, and we would figure out ways to do it. Whereas now, people love Randy Orton as a babyface. I do think he will have a heel run very soon, probably when he has his matches with Cody. But it's the legacy, it's the respect, it's everything he's done, it's how he's evolved as a person. You could read some really bad stories about Randy Orton from the sort of early 2000s periods, whereas now he has owned those mistakes, he talks them, and everyone tells what a great sort of backstage leader he is, what a backstage presence. He's a fountain of knowledge, and he's willing to help people. And I think that once again has resonated through the screen, and people love him. Again, you can make him the world champion. No one's going to get mad about that. He had his match with Gunther, and he's lost. He didn't take away star power at all. Again, we're in Austria, which is just next door to Gunther's hometown, and Randy Orton didn't get booed. That, my friends, summarizes how popular he is. And yeah, we'll call him, I think some people call him, like, what's the word? I don't know, they use it now. Just mature Randy, or father Randy, because obviously he's got a bunch of kids, which certainly did help him turn his life around. He's just a joy to watch as well, and he emanates good vibes. And when you do that, we've already talked about it, I'm repeating myself, but I thought it'd be higher than this, but when you go through the top 4, you will see. And the next one is definitely my favorite, because in 2025, it's only going to get bigger still, because it's Rhea Bloody Ripley. Now, she was so close to who is at number 3, which you'll be able to figure out. I was like, this is great, because Rhea Ripley is just, she's just improving at an insane rate, right? She's already huge. Go look at all the numbers she does on social media. People tune into the television to see her. She gets huge pop. She's selling merchandise, all of those things. If we continue to go the way that we should go, and she continues to be the person that she already is, why would would she change? She's going to be so big. Forget where she is now. She'd be like John Cena levels. I truly think she has that potential. And a huge reason for this is because she's unashamedly herself. I think we talked about this in a video the other day. Go and look at her evolution from like whenever she signed with WWE, 2018, 19, 20, whatever it was, until now. She's admitted this. I'm pretty sure that there was a time where she kind of felt like she had to tick some boxes. She had to follow this path. Otherwise, she'd never be a WWE superstar. But as soon as she was kind of cemented in the system, I suppose, and got some inner confidence, she was like, no, that's not who I am. This is how I want to look. I want to get tattoos. I want to do all of this. And it's great because it sends an amazing message to everybody that just be you, and you is enough, and you can be one of the biggest badasses on the roster. Like, if she ever does have a match with Dominic Mysterio and she whips his ass, and riptides him 1, 2, 3 in 2 seconds, no one's going to moan. No one's going to complain, because that is the kind of, larger-than-life personality she does give off. It also helps that Dominic Mysterio is an absolute dickhead, but that's how good wrestling works. You have to have people on either side of the coin. So, huge fan of Rhea Ripley. This is only the start for her, and once we're kind of out of the Judgment Day stuff, the Liv Morgan stuff, and maybe we can concentrate on more singular feuds, man, there's Bianca Belair, there's Jade Cargill, Becky Lynch can come back, we can do that again. You can bring Liv Morgan back for sure, without all the other sort of silliness, which I love, by the way, no problem with it at all. Some of the best stuff on Monday nights, but there are so many stories to tell with her. You can do something with Lita, you can do something with Trish Stratus, it just goes on and on and on, and I'm sure I'm forgetting some people as well. So, yeah, awesome. Number 4, Rhea Ripley, much deserved, and one day I bet you she's top 2. And she was only just beaten out by CM Punk. CM flipping Punk, one of only the biggest stars in WWE, but one of the biggest stars in all of wrestling. This shouldn't come as a surprise. If you love him, you love him. If you hate him, you hate him. But that just ties into the huge magnitude that he is. That's not a word, but he is. He's an attention magnet, and sometimes he doesn't even crave that attention. It just goes to him. He was on NXT last night. We got an NXT show in Chicago, and that's selling loads of tickets. People just love CM Punk, and that's after everything that he's been through. People still talk about Brawl Out. They still talk about the press conference. They still talk about what happened in 2014. Everybody has opinion, but everybody wants to see him. And really, when you do break it right down, like DX, he has an incredible fan base, which is why he's another guy that constantly does merchandise numbers and will probably be a world champion by the end of 2025. I'm just giving myself some leeway there. It's probably going to be a lot sooner. He'll main event WrestleMania, and everybody will be super duper happy for him. He gives back, it sounds like, in terms of what he is giving to developmental. You don't have to like him. Of course you don't. It's totally up to you how you take on your favorite wrestler, but he is an anomaly in an incredible way. And as cliched as this is for me to say, there is nobody like CM Punk. There just isn't, and there probably never will be again. When we get to the top 2, now, the graph, once again, does not really represent this, because I put this together based on what I had. It was so close. We're talking like 5 votes, maybe 10 votes. I'll check my numbers when I'm done here. But number 2 is Roman Reigns. Now, some people get so mad about that, going, there's no way he wasn't number 1. He essentially was number 1. Essentially, it was tied, because yes, one is Cody Rhodes. We'll just talk about them both. This goes into all the videos we've been doing this week. They are your Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock of this current generation. People love these guys. People see them as super duper whooper stars. Roman Reigns probably has more of that legacy effect now than Cody does, because of course, when he's away from the TV and he comes back, everyone goes crazy. But Cody is going to get there soon as well. Cody is just putting in the legwork that Roman Reigns did over his 4-year title run, and he can only start doing that now because we only gave him the championship in April, I should say. So you have to put that on there too. But I kind of feel like when I was talking to people, much younger viewers love Cody Rhodes. Of course, that's their John Cena. That's their Roman Reigns, depending on your generation. Whereas the people that are just above them, Roman Reigns is their John Cena, because again, that's their generation. And that's why it's neck and neck, because you've got a bunch of new people getting into WWE now. Cody Rhodes is the champion. He's such a nice dude. Whereas Roman Reigns is kind of I don't even know how you'd put it, like what's the word I'm looking for? We just got a presence to him when he comes out, and you know that he's a big deal. He's got the over-the-top entrance. He's got the stupid thing with the ones that everyone does. Don't know why I call it stupid. It's absolutely brilliant. But these two are just dominating WWE right now, and I think that's why programming is only going to get better and better, and why WWE are in such a good space. It's going to grow. It's going to evolve. We can do more matches between them, and if one of them goes away, the other one will take up the slack, and that will only increase their stock as well. So for everyone I talk to, Roman Reigns is 2 and Cody Rhodes is number 1, but I'm going to throw them in there as a tie because it was so close. If I had asked 5 more people, this result would have been totally different, but you'll be unsurprised to hear that it was the immediate response I got more than any others with these two names. He went up to someone and said, who's your favorite wrestler? Who do you think is the best right now? Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns. Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns. Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns. And I think that's great for two different reasons. They have had similar journeys. Roman Reigns stayed in WWE, but he was dragged through the mire through terrible booking, but he found his way out. Whereas Cody left around about the same time because he was sick of his terrible booking, did it a different way, came back, and he figured it out too. So big fans of both of them. I hope they continue to go on and leave legacies too, so that when they do come back, they can be a Randy Orton, they can be a John Cena, they can be a Stone Cold, they can be The Rock. And I don't see why they wouldn't do that, right? They are headlining at a time when WWE is making a bunch of money and got a bunch of people watching. And these will be the two people that remember. And that's why the first person that you link yourself to when you're younger usually becomes your favorite wrestler, because you have the nostalgia angle and they're the person that dragged you in to begin with. That's the only reason people go, oh, my wrestling was much better than this wrestling, because you were a kid and it reminds you of better times. But more power to both of them. It shouldn't come as that big a surprise. I mean, who did you think it was going to be? I mean, it should be R-Truth. That should be the reason, but it's not. It was never going to be Gilbert, was it? If it was Gilbert, the world would be a better place. Now, please do like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Leave a comment below and tell me how wrong this is, even though you're telling yourself you're wrong, because again, not my opinions, they're yours. Click the video on the screen to get my latest thoughts on this week's episode of Raw. Otherwise, it is grillermine.com/Simon. Simon get 10% off. It's 30% off on Cherry Blackout pre-workout right now, so take advantage of that this week. It ships worldwide. And Go Fitness is use the code Simon20, patreon.com/Simon316. Simon316 on all social media. Simon Miller on TikTok, Simon J Miller on TikTok, Simon Miller on Cameo, and my brand new pro wrestling tees are live. Search my name, Simon Miller. Look at that surprise roll-up tee. It's the best thing I've ever done in my life. I've peaked. Goodbye.